Dark Imp, helping parents reclaim family time by playing board games together. Today I'm going to talk to you about 3 different games that use cards with numbers on, and essentially they're all about putting the numbers in consecutive order, but they use those in very different ways. So let's take a look at them. First of all, we've got 6 Nimmt. I don't know if I'm pronouncing this right, it's German. It's a deck of cards that goes up to something like 102. And each card has a number on and also a symbol at the top which shows you how many of these kind of bull's heads it's got. And you are, at the beginning of each round, you're dealt 10 cards at random, and then 4 cards are put face up on the table in a column. So let's say we've got a column of these 4 cards here. Oops, there we go. So we've got 30, 82, 35, 79. They'd be in a column down the table, and then on your turn you have to everybody plays together. Silly me. Everybody's going to select one of the 10 cards they have in their hand. Look at the cards. Oh, what should we choose? What should we choose? I'm going to choose this one. When you've chosen a card, you put it face down on the table in front of you so everybody knows you've chosen one. And then when everybody's chosen a card, you reveal the cards. Starting with the lowest, you are going to, lowest of the cards that are revealed, you're going to add your card to one of the rows. Now you have no choice about where it goes. You're always going to add it to the card that is closest to it, but less. So for example, I have chosen 37, and one of the cards is 35, and there's no 36 on the table, so I have got to put my 37 next to the 35. So so it's going to start a row. So there's four different cards in a column, and each one of them is the card at the start of a row. You can have up to 5 cards in a row. Now if somebody else has chosen 38, it would go here. But if somebody else has chosen 34, it's going to go next to the 30 card. It can't go, it's always got to go in ascending order, so it can't go on this row. It's going to have to go on the row where the 30 is. If someone's chosen 99, it won't go on this row because there's another card, 82, which is closer to it, so it's going to go next to the 82. So you're going to build up these lines, and you don't know what other people have chosen. You don't know necessarily what turn you're going to go in. If you play a card that's lower than any of the cards that are available on the table, so you always have to build up from the end of the row, then you're going to choose a line and take all the cards on that line into your scoring pile. And then you can put your card on a new line. Now you don't really want to do that unless you're choosing to do that tactically, because you're going to score points, and the aim here is not to score any points. On the cards, however many bull's heads they've got at the top of the page, that's the top of the card, that's the number, that's the score you're going to get. So this card will score you 1, this card will score you 3. I think it's the multiples of 5 and the multiples of 11 that score you. No, it can't be. Oh yeah, multiples of 5, multiples of 11, something like that. So some of them, like 55, that's a pretty dangerous card to be taking. And then you're going to have another round. At the end, when you've done all your 10 cards, so each time everybody plays a card, then you choose another card, and you keep going. You can only have 5 cards in a row, so if you are forced to put down a 6th card on a row, you have to take that row, and you start a new row with your card instead. So it's always about, I've got 10 cards in my hand, what am I going to play now? What am I going to save for later? Do I get my big cards out the way? Do I get my small cards out the way? What do I think other people have got? And how am I going to tactically make it work for me? There is some luck because, of course, you get dealt cards at random, but mostly it's strategic about which cards you choose to play and when. That is 6 Nimmt. Secondly, the mind. Now, the mind is a very strange game. Unlike anything else that I've played as a board game, but very like a game I used to play as a drama teacher. The game that we used to play as a drama teacher was everybody sits round in a circle, the whole class, and closes their eyes, or better, focuses on something like a candle, electric probably in schools now, or a bunch of keys or something on the floor in the middle. Everybody's supposed to be looking at that. And then one person says 1, and then another person says 2. And you're not allowed to go around in a circle. You just have to make sure that you're speaking when nobody else is. As soon as 2 people say a number at the same time, the game's over, you go back to the beginning. So it's the task is to see how high you can count. Now, this the mind is more similar to that than any other board game than any board game I've played. In the mind, you have cards 1 to 100, and all they are is just a card with a number on. You get dealt out a hand of cards, and you have to, and it goes up, so different levels you have different numbers of cards. So in the first round you're going to have 1 card, and in higher levels you're going to have more cards. So let's say I have 33 and it's the first round. And what you have to try and do as a group, it's a cooperative game, you're trying to play together. As a group, you're trying to get your cards down in order, but there's no communication, and you have to work out when to play your cards. So you can wait. If you've got a number 3, you might play it straight away. It'd be bad luck if someone's got a number 2 and they haven't managed to get it down before you. If you've got a number 33, you might want to wait a little bit, see if anyone puts in lower numbers, and then you might decide there's been a fair amount of time here. I don't want people with 50s and 60s to start putting their cards down. I'm going to put my 33 down. And then you'll hear maybe a sigh of relief, or you'll hear oh no, why'd you put that one down? I've got a 29. So there's no communication. It's supposed to, you get good at it when you really focus on the group. It's a strange old game, but it's quite fun. Cooperative game, the mind. And thirdly, no thanks. Again, a very simple game. This one's competitive. You've got there's a stack of cards. They go from number 3 to number 35, and you don't get dealt any. You get given a pile of tokens. According to the number of players in the game, it might be 7 or 9 or 11, I think. So then you choose a starting player at random and reveal the first card. Well, that was 35 because I had it just at the side. Reveal the first card, and in this case it's a number 8. So then you have to say whether you want to take that card or whether you say no thanks. And if you say no thanks, then you are going to put a token on the card. And you're saying, no, I don't want to take that card. Now, in this game, if you say yes, you're taking the card, and at the end of the round, you're going to score the points. Like in 6 Nimmt, you do not want to score points. Points are bad. So what you're going to do is you're going to choose whether you want to take the card or say no thanks. Then it goes to the next player clockwise, and they also get to choose whether they want to take the card or whether they want to say no thanks to the card. And if they say no thanks, they're going to put a coin on it as well, a token on it. And now, if you choose to take the card, if the next player chooses to take the card, they take the card and the tokens on top. If you've got no cards, no tokens, you always have to take the card. So this is your sort of economy. You're trying to keep enough of those. At the end of the game, you're going to score the points on the card. So you might score 8 points for this card. And so you want to try and probably avoid the higher cards, like 35 can be a bit of a killer card. The thing is that that if you've managed to get cards in a sequence, so if you take 10 and you also take 11, then it's a sequence of consecutive numbers, and you're only going to score for the lowest one. So actually you're going to tuck this 11 behind and it won't score at all. So you're only going to score 10 points even if you have 10 and 11 in your hand. So I might say yes to the 8 if I've got 10 and 11, hoping that I'm going to get the 9, and then this whole sequence will only score 8 points. So all the time you're trying to work out which cards to take, which cards to say no thanks to, not running out of tokens, and making sure you're scoring less than everybody else at the end of the game. Sometimes you want to take cards just because you know it's going to help another player. If they get that card, they're going to get a massive string and they're going to score fewer points. You can end up with loads of points at the end of the game, or you can end up with quite a nice sequence. It plays from 3 to 7 players, and it is quite different at the different player counts. In 3, you might well get these long chains, but of course with 7 players you're likely to end up with less cards at the end of the game. So it's an interesting game. It's very quick to teach, very simple to get on with. That's no thanks. So out of these 3 games, I think, well, No Thanks and 6 Nimmt are both real sort of strategy, thinky, or tactics and strategy, thinky games, but and this is probably the simplest. This is more complex. It's harder to imagine what's going to happen than it is in this game. So this is a great one, especially for younger children, or if you're wanting to introduce to people that don't normally play games. It's a really good one. It fits in very quickly. You can play some rounds. This one's more of a brain burner, and the mind is on a planet all of its own.